Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and I'm here with another news show. Crikey, I'm doing a lot of these lately, aren't I? But I suppose it's my job, sort of, my hobby. Right, we've got some news from like the world of Stargate, sort of. A bit of Star Wars and a bit of Star Trek news, so we'll get on with it. We shall get on with it. Right after this intro. Right, I'm back. So, let's get the news window up. There it is. First up, Stargate Atlantis cast reunite for a table read with art generated by AI. And not only that, I think it was an AI-generated script. And I've said before, my loathing for AI artwork and AI, literature, it does my head in. But let's have a read. Exclusive. Watch the trailer for the upcoming free Stargate AI event from The Companion, reuniting 4 members of the Atlantis cast for a unique table reading. And I presume this is one of the AI artworks. That's supposed to be the city of Atlantis. They probably, typed in, draw me, paint me the city of Atlantis, all futuristic. I bet that's what they did. Or something like that. Right, what happens when you feed an artificial intelligence every episode of Stargate Atlantis, then ask it to write a script? It's a little wacky, a bit unexpected, and very entertaining. And this time, the premiere event is completely free. What did you have to pay before? I don't know. I've never listened to one of these, by the way. I'll watch one of these AI script reads. I know they've done them before for Stargate SG-1, but I've never read them because AI-generated art, which I don't class as art, it's just an algorithm just mushing things together, innit, really. In my opinion, I suppose an AI artist will probably differ. There'll be lots of computers saying, hey, it's art. But it's not, is it? Right, this fall, The Companion is bringing back its Stargate AI project for version 3.0, and this time it's Atlantis' turn in the spotlight. 4 of the show's cast will reunite for a unique table read of the AI-generated scenes. Tori Higginson as Dr. Elizabeth Weir, yay, because she left at the beginning of season 4, didn't she? Because her character was killed off and then brought back and then killed off again. David Hewlett as Dr. Rodney McKay, yay! Rachel Luttrell as Taylor Magan, and Paul McGillian as Dr. Carson Beckett, another character who died and was brought back. Spoilers. The event will premiere online at The Companion on Saturday, October 8th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. What's that UK time? That's about another 5 hours, isn't it? 10 p.m. UK time, British summertime, and that'll be 11 European time. CET, is that what they're on now? I don't know. It is hosted by The Companion's Lawrence Cow. Is that how you pronounce it? Cow, K-O, Cow. I'll say Cow. Along with Stargate Atlantis co-creator Brad Wright. Hashtag We Want Stargate. Hashtag We Want Bradgate. Hashtag Brad Wright to write the new Amazon Stargate, all one word. And showrun it, all one word. And lead Google AI advocate Lawrence Moroney. Not saying anything. This event will be available for free rather than locked behind a subscription. Just create a free account. There's also a catch in there. At The Companion for access, with no need to enter any payment details or a time trial membership. Just right. Or time a trial membership. Just right. Yeah. Right. Watch this exclusive 3-minute trailer for a taste of what's in store. I don't know. Will I get a copyright strike if I play it? I don't know. I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll do little bits. Right, so we saw that. Get away, more videos. So we saw a bit of the AI artwork, didn't we, there? I'll pause it. I'll do it for like 8 seconds and then pause it, because they say 8 seconds is what you're allowed in it. So, let's carry on.
How long have you two been working together on this?
Just over a year ago, I proposed that an AI start.
Right, so that's Brad Wright. Can you see me mouse pointer? I don't know, can you? Yes, it's there, yes. That's Brad Wright. That's Tori Higginson, who I met once at a conference, and she's amazingly lovely. She is, and she's got gorgeous eyes. And she loves my accent. She says, where are you from? She knew I'm from Yorkshire, actually. She said, where are you from in Yorkshire? And I said, where am I from? And she says, I love the accent, but not in a Yorkshire accent. But yes, so that's Tori Higginson, that's Brad Wright, the co-creator of Stargate, SG-1, etc.
Writing scenes of Stargate.
What if you got like a
Yeah, I've gone a bit over there, haven't I? I've gone 10 seconds there. So Brad Wright again.
world-class AI to write scenes?
Right, so that's every line of dialogue, every piece of art by artificial intelligence built by Google AI advocacy lead Lawrence Moroney. There you go.
Yeah, almost like a reunion / read-through / AI experiment.
I'm going to burp. Hang on. Pardon me. So Bradley seems quite happy about this, doesn't he? I wouldn't be. I'd be like Ian Malcolm. If it did a good job, this AI, and wrote a brilliant script and did amazing artwork, I'd be like Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park going, don't you mean extinct? You know, because he'd be saying, we're out of a job. And I'd be saying, don't you mean extinct? I can't do a Jeff Goldblum impression. And I wish I could, because he's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, so that's the cast list. Have they spelt that right? I thought it was just one T. Oh, whatever, I don't know. Rachel Luttrell, Tori Higginson, Paul McGillian, and David Hewlett. A long time ago, what was it, about 10 years ago now? Yeah. I were contracted to write a script for a film, because I used to be a writer back in the day, for a film that were allegedly going to star Paul McGillian, playing a Scotsman. I'll not say what film it was, and it didn't work out. I got let go because I had a bit of a falling out with the producer. I'll not say why or anything, but anyway, it didn't happen. And I haven't written anything since, not of note anyway, because it put me off. Right, where were we? And by the way, David Hewlett is amazing as well. I met him at conference once, and I'd torn my trousers. I had a Stargate Atlantis season 3 and onwards uniform on, just cosplay, and I'd split my trousers, so I had to get some new ones on that were slightly different. They weren't, accurate. So he found that incredibly funny, because I told him, my tale of woe, and he found it immensely funny that I'd split my trousers.
All right, Rodney, you're running low on chips, but how about we up the ante? If I win the next hand, you have to give me back my wee turtles.
My wee turtles. Thing about Beckett, Carson Beckett, he came across this meek and mild Scotsman, this doctor, who's always nervous, doesn't want to be in Atlantis. I don't know why he went to start with, but didn't want to be there. Didn't like using the chair, the ancient weapons chair, because of what happened in the pilot. He accidentally launched a drone that almost killed General O'Neill and Major Shepherd, as he was then. But he had enough of an ego and personality that he had a St Andrew's saltire, a Scottish flag basically, on his shoulder, on his uniform, instead of the UK flag that we other Atlantis people wore. You see a couple of Union flags there, Union Jack as it's often called, but it's really the Union flag. But obviously Carson Beckett was a Scottish independentist. I suppose he voted for Scottish independence in the in the election of 2016 or whatever, the vote. But anyway, that's just a little bugbear of mine.
Fine, and I'm gonna win. Get back! You'll never take him alive!
See, they're all having fun. You see, they're all having fun doing this, reading this artificially generated script. Oop. And here comes Tori again. So it looks like she's now guillotine. She's going to have her head chopped off. Or some sort of, device of torture.
I'm writing a book about leadership, and, well, there's no one in the field I respect more than you, Taylor. You have any advice?
I would say that a leader must always be willing to put the needs of their people before their own.
Yeah, well, it seems, if this is the AI script they're reading, it's seems to have got the characters
And they
down
must
a
always
little
be
bit.
willing to sacrifice for the good of their people.
Anyway, the link's in the description. As I say, we're only halfway through there. The link's in the description so you can watch the rest of it. Experience how AI generates original artwork. So we'll see. If you watch the video, you can see that. Right, past events have featured table readings with SG-1's cast and with a mix of SG-1 and Atlantis casts and characters. This event will bring another big new addition to the AI series. Moroni, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, will also show off a stunning set of images created by artificial intelligence, some based on real-time prompts from the cast and generated in mere minutes. The AI art features a very different vision of the lost city of the ancients, plus haunting takes on some of our favourite characters and the actors who portray them. Check out a few examples below. We'll have a look in a minute. In addition to the hilarity of the situations and dialogue created by the AI, this time fans can expect a bit of drama in the scenes performed, thanks to a more sophisticated screenplay generated using a large language model, trained not only by Stargate scripts, but also with all the text available on the internet. Oh, God. It's going to be self-aware next. Head over to the companion to sign up and we'll see you at the watch party on October 8th. There we go. So we're looking at So is that supposed to be Elizabeth Weir, maybe? I suppose. Well, that's definitely Rodney, isn't it? That's the city. And we're back on the YouTube thing again. So there we go. As I said, I'm not a fan of AI-generated art or literature because, can a computer create art? Well, yes, technically it can, but is it creating, art is supposed to be from the heart, isn't it, really? Supposedly. It's supposed to elicit emotions. Can a computer elicit emotions? Does it know it's eliciting emotions? That's what I'm trying to say. Or is it rather just going through the motions? Anyway, so we'll leave that one there. So I thought I'd get the Stargate one out of the way first. Right, now we're on to Star Wars next. The Mandalorian star, Katie Sackhoff, the amazingly lovely Katie Sackhoff, who I'd love to meet at a convention and had a chance to, says Star Wars fans are in good hands with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan, while the beloved sci-fi franchise hasn't released a film on the big screen in a couple of years. Thank God. There are no shortage of new stories and adventures in the works at Disney+. Several live-action Star Wars shows are in development or production for the streaming service, many of which are being led by Star Wars The Mandalorian producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The duo of Favreau and Filoni have spearheaded the Star Wars TV efforts since the launch of Disney Plus in 2019, and there is currently no end in sight. Katie Sackhoff, I'm choking on my own slaver. Katie Sackhoff, who stars in The Mandalorian as Bo-Katan Kryze, spoke to Variety at D23 about the future of the franchise under its current leadership. And here's the Twitter thing. Right, we'll have a look. The Mandalorian star, Katie Sackhoff. The good thing with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau is that they're constantly expanding this world, and I don't think that Star Wars fans will be lacking for content anytime soon. Let's have a listen.
How many seasons have they told you Mandalorian will go for? I have been told, but we'll just have to wait and see if that happens.
Tell me, I'm not going to tell anyone.
No one will ever know.
Is it the amount that you thought it would be?
Yes. Yes. The good thing with Dave and John is that they're constantly expanding this world, and I don't think that Star Wars fans will be lacking for content anytime soon.
Hello, as evidence today.
I know.
There we go. The lovely Katie Sackhoff. That's it. She's always got a little twinkle in her eye, hasn't she? She's great. So the better interviewee than Brie Larson, isn't she? Who seemed a bit odd in that interview where she wasn't sure how long she was going to play Captain Marvel for, or even if she was going to be back as Captain Marvel. Right, the good thing with Dave, I've just heard her say this, but I'll read it anyway. The good thing with Dave and John is that they're constantly expanding this world, and I don't think that Star Wars fans will be lacking for content anytime soon. And she giggled and stuff. Sackhoff said. Andor, a prequel series to Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is arriving in just over a week, and its first 3 episodes set to debut. With its first 3 episodes set to debut on September 21st. After that, all eyes will be on the return of The Mandalorian. So, when does The Mandalorian Season 3 premiere on Disney+? Star Wars fans have been waiting a while for the 3rd instalment of The Mandalorian, but we got a bit in Boba Fett, didn't we? Mandalorian to debut, with Season 2 concluding nearly 2 years ago. A firm release date for Season 3 hasn't been released just yet, but Disney and Lucasfilm have revealed a release window for the show's return. Earlier this year, it was announced that The Mandalorian would be coming back for Season 3 in February 2023. The trailer for the new season, which was released during D23 this past weekend, simply said that the show would be arriving in 2023. Oh, excuse me. Have a drink of water. Oh, crikey. The removal of the month from the trailer doesn't necessarily mean the series has been delayed beyond February, but we don't know until Disney or Lucasfilm release more concrete information about the premiere date. And that's about it, isn't it? Is it? Shall we read this? There's a bit more here, isn't there? Yeah. The Mandalorian Season 3 star Katie Sackhoff promises more scenes with Grogu and Bo-Katan. Katie Sackhoff says Bo-Katan Kryze will be spending... It's a weird name, isn't it? Bo-Katan, isn't it? It's aliens. Will be spending more time with Grogu in the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. Phase Zero host Brandon Davis caught up with Sackhoff after The Mandalorian Season 3's new teaser trailer played at the D23 Expo in Anaheim on Saturday and finally made its way online. But how accurate is the trailer in representing what The Mandalorian Season 3 will be like? Sackhoff says it's pretty true to what's come from the Star Wars streaming show's 3rd outing, which is set to debut on Disney streaming service sometime early next year. It's so funny because I think that the trailer at Star Wars Celebration was a little different, but it was very much the same tone, so that's all that matters, Sackhoff says. I think that is accurate in the sense that you're going to have a lot of Mandos running around as witnessed, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about that, and that's exciting. I spent a lot of time with you this season, and it's fun with you. I don't know. He's a good co-star. Was she holding a Grogu thing as well? I don't know. As for how Bo-Katan will react to Din Djarin's rising profile among their fellow Mandalorians, Sackhoff remains coy. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, right? I bet she had a little wink there. Sackhoff also spoke a bit about how the cast of The Mandalorian keeps in touch between filming. Dave Filoni and I text quite a bit. It's usually about our pets, though, she says. Emily Swallow and I see each other quite a bit, and Giancarlo Esposito and I just love to spend time with the people that I work with when you truly love the people that you work with, and that's what we have, so it's great. But even Sackhoff, now a veteran of 2 major fandoms between Star Wars and her previous role in Battlestar Galactica, isn't above being starstruck. She spoke a bit about her experiences at events like D23. So, the fact that I now have 2 times been in the same vicinity and airspaces as Harrison Ford is one of the coolest moments of my life, and I'm still holding out hope that somebody will take pity and cast me in something so I can actually work with the man, she says. But when it comes to Bo-Katan collectibles, she's more into what fans make at home. I shouldn't say this, but I love the homemade stuff on Etsy, she says. There's some really fun, creative stuff. I love that. I've seen a lot of tattoos of Bo lately. I love that when people are taking their own spin on the night owl symbol. So cool to see. Then it says about that. Oh, right, a bit more. The Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal teases Din Djarin's reluctant journey in season 3. How was this one? How many stories have we got here? Crikey. Is that it? Right, there. So we're nearly there, I think. I do believe. Or maybe not. No. Oh, well, I'm not reading all of them because the little scroll bar at the side's getting smaller and smaller all the time. I think this is going to go on forever, isn't it? So we'll leave it there for that story. It was about Katie Sackhoff. I'm not reading about the other fella. Right, so we'll move on. Andor. Speaking of another fella and Star Wars, Andor. Andor first character posters showcase main players. As I said, by the way, the links will be in the description below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, and drop a comment and all that stuff, because it'd be greatly appreciated. Right, it wouldn't be a new Star Wars show without some character posters to go along with it. With Andor just over a week away, the first batch showcases the characters we've seen the most from during the show's marketing push: Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma, and Star Wars newcomer Luthen Rael. Check them out below. And there they are. There's Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma. Obviously, that's Diego Luna, Genevieve O'Reilly, and Stellan Skarsgård as, Luthen Rael. And he says, Andor, calls him Andor, doesn't he? Cassian Andor. Great voice. The posters are fairly basic, but there are a few details differentiating them. Each poster features a different structure behind each of the characters, as well as a different formation of X-Wings, whether it's in numbers or specific positioning. All of the posters are set to a fiery haze in the foreground with an ominous red sky overhead. This striking red can be seen across other posters too, including the one from Star Wars Celebration. The logo itself has been turned red in the second trailer and in a poster from a couple of weeks ago. Does any of this mean anything other than someone has been having fun with Photoshop and the rest of their Adobe suite? Who knows? But it does reinforce the idea that Andor won't be your typical Star Wars show. Have another quick look. Yeah, I don't know what these buildings are supposed to be. It looks the same building, aren't they? That looks like that, but flipped, maybe. Because it's got that on top, and that's just same as that. Maybe, I don't know. Don't know what they're supposed to be. As far as the characters themselves, Diego Luna. Oh, my phone's just binged. Diego Luna and Genevieve O'Reilly return to reprise their roles, reprise, whatever. Their roles as Cassian Andor and Mon Mothma, respectively. Stellan Skarsgård makes his Star Wars debut as Luthen Rael, who was I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know, who has been seen trying to recruit Cassian to his own cause. One interesting aspect heading into Andor is how Rael's goals will collide with Mon Mothma's as she manoeuvres her own plans for the rebellion while serving in the Imperial Senate. And don't forget, we're also going to see Saw Gerrera, played by, I forgot his name. Super famous actor, Forrest Whitaker, played by Forrest Whitaker. And remember, he goes, but he was part of the rebellion, wasn't he? But then he sort of goes his own way because he was too radical for Mon Mothma and the gang. Right, the final trailer released during Lucasfilm's presentation at D23 does give a hint of tension in the room during their scenes together. There isn't much longer to wait for answers. The 3-episode premiere of Andor drops on Disney Plus September 21st. And, that's that. Right, so let's have another quick look. So there we go. So there's Cassian Andor, 3 X-Wings. I think those... Can we have a bigger one? There we go. The S-foils closed or open. I can't really make it out. Can't really make that out. How do we get rid of that now? If I click that, will it go? No, press it wrong button again. Oh, crikey. Go away. How do I get rid of that? Just do that. All right. No, go away. That's it. And there's Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Don't know what this building is. You'd think they'd have like Coruscant behind her, wouldn't you? They'd have his own colony, wherever, or where he's from. You know, something industrial maybe, because we see him in that like that scrapyard, don't we? Like we've seen in Jedi Fallen Order. You think they'd have something like that behind him? You think they'd have the Coruscant behind Mon Mothma, and there's Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rail, and you think they'd have something behind him as well. I don't know, because we don't know anything about him. And he's got 2 X-Wings, so they basically just cut and pasted things out there. So there we go. Yeah, so that's very good. I'm looking forward to Andor, because, you know, as I've said before, as I say in every time I mention it, Rogue One is my favourite Star Wars film, because it's a war film, you know, Star Wars. So, you know, shove that up your pipe and smoke it. Right, Star Trek news. Star Trek struggles to remake Khan, but that changes with a new spin-off. Where's that going? Give up. Nicholas Meyer has written a Khan spin-off that will explore his exile on Ceti Alpha 5, a better take on the Star Trek villain than previous remakes. Now remember, this was written quite a while ago, because Robert Meyer Burnett got hold of the script. It was a 3-part miniseries. Robert Meyer Burnett got hold of the script. He thought it was a defunct series, so he read it out. Well, didn't read it out, but he gave out the plot, you know, described it on his show, and then got asked to take it down. I think it was Nicholas Meyer himself that contacted him and asked him to take the video down, because it was still in development. And anyway, so there's Khan, there's, you know, fake Khan, what they're showing him for. From Star Trek Into Darkness, which, you know, is awful. Right, Star Trek has always struggled in its attempts to remake Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Why would you want to remake it? But it could finally have found the answer with a new spin-off. That's not a remake then, is it? It's a spin-off. God, blimey. The second feature-length outing for the Star Trek The Original Series cast is regularly cited as the best Star Trek movie. And so it's easy to see why the franchise has often revisited it. A sequel to Star Trek Star Trek Season 1, Episode 22, Space Seed. The movie saw Khan, Noonien Singh, Ricardo Montalban, seek revenge against Captain Kirk, Admiral Kirk, William Shatner, for exiling him to the doomed Ceti Alpha 5. Star Trek Nemesis, the final cinematic outing for the Star Trek The Next Generation cast, featured a similar face-off between Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart and Shinzon, Tom Hardy, who sought revenge against the Romulans for exiling him to the dilithium mines of Remus. Against the Romulans? Well, they were going to go to Earth and destroy Earth. Why would that be revenge against the Romulans? As the original series reboot, a remake of Khan in the Kelvin timeline was inevitable. Star Trek Into Darkness was a much more explicit remake of Wrath of Khan. It was bloody awful. Swapping Kirk and Spock's roles slightly and replaying the events of Space Seed against the backdrop of the more militaristic Kelvin timeline. It was garbage. I hate that film. However, both films failed to repeat the successes of Wrath of Khan, and audiences... Star Trek Nemesis is nothing like Wrath of Khan. However, both films failed to repeat the successes of Wrath of Khan, and audiences were left wondering about the merit of revisiting such a classic Star Trek story. This year's Star Trek Day celebrations revealed that the franchise will be returning to Wrath of Khan once again, but in a manner that might be more successful than a straight remake. Appearing on stage at Star Trek Day, the co-writer and director of Wrath of Khan, Nicholas Meyer, revealed that he and Alex Kurtzman, had worked on a spin-off series about Khan's time in exile, which avoids the issues that yet another movie remake would possess. Originally intended for TV, Star Trek's Khan comeback never surfaced. Now Meyer has adapted his scripts as a serialised audio drama entitled Star Trek Khan, SETI Alpha 5. He will explore what happened to Khan and his disciples during the 15 years between Space Seed and the Wrath of Khan, including the tragic death of his wife. It's an exciting prospect that is also the only satisfying way to revisit the iconic Star Trek villain. There's he's in Space Seed and she became his wife. I can't remember her name. I'm sure it will tell us. And there he is in Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan gives some insight into what happened to Khan and his fellow augments after Kirk exiled them to SETI Alpha 5. Khan tells Chekhov, Walter Koenig, that the neighbouring planet SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after they arrived and their new home became a barren and inhospitable world. It's not clear at exactly what point SETI Alpha 5 will begin from, but the explosion of SETI Alpha 6 feels like a good starting point. The fact that the Starfleet ships took 15 years to discover that SETI Alpha 6 exploded opens up an interesting exploration of how the seemingly utopian Federation deals with criminals. I think what happens in the script, from what Robert Meyer Burnett says, I think the SETI Alpha 6 were also inhabited, and they're a spacefaring civil. I think they travel to SETI Alpha 5, and something happens between the augments, Khan and his people, and these people from SETI Alpha 6, and something happens. And I don't know if it's Khan that makes SETI Alpha 6 explode, or if it's to do it themselves. I don't know, but that's where it explodes. But I think he says what happens in Star Trek 2. He says SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after we were left here, and the explosion shifted the orbits. So I think what happened is SETI Alpha 5 ended up, because of the explosion, it ended up in the orbit that SETI Alpha 6 had been. And so that's why Chekhov and the Reliant thought that Khan was on SETI Alpha 6, and that SETI Alpha 5 no longer existed. I think they just thought it had exploded. And they thought, well, that does away with Khan then, doesn't it? So that's probably what they thought happened. That's what happened in my head canon anyway. In Space Seed, Khan and his augments were effectively abandoned by Starfleet and the Federation on a world that was described as somewhat habitable. Despite the explosion of the neighbouring planet, it's clear from Wrath of Khan that no help was forthcoming. As I've said, they probably thought that SETI Alpha 5 had exploded. A spin-off series focusing on Khan attempted to keep his wife and his disciples alive in an increasingly hostile environment for over a decade with no help forthcoming will provide a fascinating character arc. Khan was never a hero, but SETI Alpha 5 will be the perfect way for Star Trek to explore how he went from the suave and sophisticated leader of Space Seed to the vengeful, bloodthirsty warrior that appears in the Wrath of Khan. Well, he was suave and sophisticated, but, he was still bloodthirsty, wasn't he? Remember, during the eugenics wars, he ruled over a quarter of the Earth's population before he was defeated. So, he wasn't a nice chap. But yeah, it should be interesting. An audio drama. So what they're going to do with that then? Are they going to release it, online, on like Spotify or whatever? Or are they going to do it on? Is it going to be on Paramount Plus with some visuals? Like a what do they do it? Like a motion comic book sort of thing. I don't know. We'll see, won't we? All right. Writing for Star Trek Discovery Season 5 has been completed. They cry. That's what'll be a lot in it. In brackets. They cry. The 5th season of Star Trek Discovery is still in production, but the season has hit a big milestone. On Tuesday, executive producer and co-showrunner Michelle Paradise revealed that the writers have wrapped up their work for the new season of Discovery. I'm very dry today. She made the announcement on Twitter, revealing the season finale has been written, adding end of season 5. Right, so here goes a tweet. We finished typing many words yesterday. I was trying to post a screenshot of them, but Twitter doesn't like images shaped like rectangles. That's what you'll get when you take a photo of end of season 5. What's he talking about? So no photo, but words and the season finale. But it's rubbish. It'll be rubbish. Filming on the 10-episode 5th season began in early June in Toronto and is about halfway completed. Paramount Plus announced the 5th season pick up in January, while season 4 was on hiatus, and by the end of March, writing was already in full swing, according to Paradise. In a March interview with Trek Movie, Paradise talked about how they have applied lessons learned in the previous 4 seasons to how they approached the new season. I want to know, we're going to learn about this bloody cat. Keeps telling this cat is queen or whatever, doesn't he? But then she never does anything. I always imagine she's going to turn into some alien or something, you know. But she never does. Book's cat. I forgot her name. We learn from every single season, and not just from every season. We learn from episode to episode, both creatively and logistically, working to be better and reaching to be better and reaching to be the best possible version of this show that we can be. That was word salad, wasn't it? And they're not learning, are they? Because it's just same every time. And the best possible addition to the Star Trek universe, the things that come to mind immediately are probably things that are perhaps less interesting to fans of the show itself. So it's going to be rubbish then. But there were a lot of lessons learned last season in the lines of production and logistics and how we shoot during a time of COVID. Well, that's over now, isn't it? Apparently. Everybody seems to have forgotten about it anyway. But more other things to worry about. Like that the world economy is collapsing, because of, the COVID measures. Don't get me started. Right, what that requires and how to make sure... What's that? What that requires and how to make sure that we're not only keeping people safe, which is the priority, and also getting through our days and making a great show, we have the brand new technology in the AR wall. What's that mean? Which is, like on Mandalorian, the thing, yeah. Which is a phenomenal technology, and that also has a learning curve, so we've learned a lot about that over Season 4. We'll be able to come in and use it in new ways in Season 5, blah, blah, blah. Right, little is known about the story for the upcoming season, but Paramount Plus did release the following synopsis on Star Trek Day, along with the first look image. Yeah, crap one. In Season 5, Captain Burnham and the crew of the USS Discovery uncover a mystery that sends them on an epic adventure across the galaxy to find an ancient power whose very existence has been deliberately hidden for centuries, but there are others on the hunt as well. Dangerous foes who are desperate to claim the prize for themselves and will stop at nothing to get it. So it's a remake of The Chase from Next Generation, isn't it? And I'm sure the galaxy's at stake, and there's Burnham on some sort of, is it a hover cycle or whatever, or has it got wheels? Can't tell. But she's in some sort of Mad Max style, whatever. The set tour released on Star Trek Day did offer a behind-the-scenes look at Season 5, including the return of Mary Wiseman as Tilly. And in August, Paradise also shared some spoiler-free images from the set. What's on the monitors, you ask? It's that and the ship. With its stupid, it's even showing it, is it stupid detached nacelles. We will likely learn more about the Season 5 at the Discovery panel just announced for New York Comic Con on October 8th. Paradise also teased this event today, so that's that. As of now, there is no release time frame for Discovery Season 5. Discovery currently streams exclusively on Paramount Plus in the US internationally. The series is available on Paramount Plus in Australia, Latin America, the UK and South Korea, as well as on Pluto TV in Austria, France, Germany, Italy, Spain and Switzerland on the Pluto TV Sci-Fi channel. It used to be on that in the UK as well. I don't know if it still is or not, because I bet nobody watched it. It will also stream exclusively on Paramount Plus in Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland and Austria later this year. In Canada, it airs on Bell Media's CTV Sci-Fi channel and streams on Crave. So there you go. So Season 5's written. That's a lot of crying and rubbish story. That'll make no sense. It'll make no sense whatsoever. They'll try and hide the nonsense with, what would have been techno-babble, but even their techno-babble's nonsense, isn't it? at least, in proper Star Trek, technobabble, kind of made sense. Even if it were made up, they still tried to make it sound as though it made sense. Right. Finally, Gene Roddenberry. How rich was the Star Trek creator when he died? I'm not being morbid or anything, or morbid curiosity. I just found it interesting that we're talking about how rich the Star Trek creator was. He created this world where, on Earth at least, probably in quite a lot of the Federation, they didn't have money. It was a moneyless society, and everybody it was. How would it be described? I don't know how it would be described. What's the word? I'm trying to think of it. A resource-based society, wasn't it? That's his best description. Where you lived to better yourself and the rest of humanity. That's what you did. There he is with Patrick Stewart, obviously from season 3 onwards, and he had little to do, didn't he, with Star Trek? TNG after season 3, but he's there anyway. Right, Gene Roddenberry is one of the most iconic figures of television history. The screenwriter passed away in October 1991 at the age of 70, but his impact on the small screen industry only keeps growing. Roddenberry is remembered best as the creator of the Star Trek franchise, although he also worked on multiple other films and TV shows. He was directly involved in the creative and production work for Star Trek the original series, Star Trek the animated series, and Star Trek the Next Generation. Well, the early parts. Today the franchise has grown to be such a behemoth as to be mentioned in the same breath as the likes of Star Wars, Law and Order, and Mickey Mouse, among others. Over the years, spin-off Star Trek shows have included Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. There are currently 4 different Star Trek iterations on air as well, namely Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and Strange New Worlds. The franchise has also branched out to the big screen, with the most recent instalments being a reboot trilogy that starred Chris Pine as Captain James T. Kirk between 2009 and 2016. Gene Roddenberry was born in 1921 in El Paso, Texas. His parents moved to Los Angeles about 2 years later when his father got a job with the city's police department. The young Roddenberry would come to follow in his dad's footsteps by working at the LAPD, where he also kick-started his screenwriting journey. Roddenberry studied police science at Los Angeles City College and later joined the military before eventually securing a job in the newspaper unit, later Public Information Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. While working for the police, he was recruited as a technical advisor for a TV show called Mr. District Attorney, for which he also eventually became a writer. He also wrote episodes for the shows Highway Patrol and I Led 3 Lives. With the writing work seemingly going steady, Roddenberry decided to quit the police force and focus on it full-time. He would go on to write for shows such as Bat Masterson, Jefferson Drum, and The Lieutenant, or as we'd say over here, The Lieutenant, but they say Lieutenant. No. It was in The Lieutenant that he would in fact work with future Star Trek legend Leonard Nimoy for the first time. Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek the original series debuted on NBC in September 1966. The first season of the show consisted of 29 episodes, with every single one of those said to have cost around $190,000 to produce. Adjusted for inflation, that would translate to approximately $1.7 million today. It may be difficult for modern Trekkies to believe, but the original series, TOS, was not as much of a hit during its broadcast tenure as it has since become. In fact, NBC considered the ratings not good enough to renew the show past the 3rd season in 1969. Well, they were going to cancel it after the 1st season, but there were a letter writing campaign. The fans. I think Gene Roddenberry helped. Encourage people to write letters to get the show to continue, and they did. And then they did it again for season 3, but then it didn't work for the 4th season. It wasn't until the series moved to syndication in the early 70s that its popularity began to skyrocket. In 1986, the original series was officially named the most popular syndicated TV series, with a growing clamour for more of the Star Trek world. The animated series and a number of films were born through ensuing through the ensuing 2 decades. Beyond the significant investment and brilliant story weaving by Roddenberry, Star Trek was also deemed to be revolutionary, particularly for how it accommodated characters of colour in its unprejudiced world. Gene Roddenberry had battled with substance abuse for a good portion of his adult life, which led to a number of health complications as he began to grow older. Sorry, I'm not laughing at that. My cat's just meowing at the window. Unbelievable. In 1989, he suffered a stroke that left him confined to a wheelchair. About 2 years later, he died from a heart attack in his doctor's office in Santa Monica. At the time of his death, Celebrity Net Worth estimates that the legendary producer's total assets were valued at around $500 million. The equivalent of that amount today, would be $1.1 billion. Wow. Roddenberry had been married twice in his life to Eileen Anita Rexroth. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. Between 1942 and 1969, and later to actress Majel Barrett. Although he remained married to Barrett for the rest of his life, he was also romantically involved with fellow writer Susan Sackett for the 15 or so final years of his life. Roddenberry's son, Eugene Roddenberry, carries on his father's legacy today as he serves as executive producer on all current Star Trek franchise shows on television and just signs everything off, I imagine. I don't think Gene will be very happy with how Star Trek's gone. But anyway, so there you go. So we'd be worth the equivalent of $1.1 billion today. So that's pretty good, isn't it? For a man that created a moneyless society. Right, so we'll leave it there. So that's that. That's that for today. I just thought I'd do a few little stories. And we'll leave it there. So wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say thee.